Hi Scorpio, welcome to a general tarot reading for the first week in April 2018. It's Raina here. I almost wasn't going to do this video because I think that I can hear a leaf blower in the distance, and on March 27th, I think it was, that was the first date that I heard a leaf blower for like 3 months. And I was like, oh no, because I live in a community full of insane people who think that this is actually a good idea to have to blow leaves around. Like leaves are just so terrible, and I think that Satan invented leaf blowers. I really do. Sorry. I'm sure you didn't want to hear that, but that's just how I feel. So, just shuffling these cards. With some of the other readings that I've done for this week, I actually talked about the blue moon. I guess I could say it for you. In yours case, it was in your 12th house, so that can be very mystical experiences. But it can be like a healing thing, where it's almost like you become aware of how you hold yourself back, and that can make you much more self-aware and less prone to those patterns, because the 12th house is kind of like the unconscious or subconscious mind, and when we tend to do things without consciously knowing why, that could be because of some past life influence or just things that we have sublimated that are affecting our ability to make decisions in a very, you know, aware state, where we just kind of like do things, you know. So that can be very helpful to stopping those patterns. Speaking of the devil. Speak of the devil. Okay. Now let me gather up my card pile here. The heart of the matter is represented by the Six of Pentacles. This is a card. Let me see if I still have any shadow issues. Yeah, I kind of am. Let me see if taking these over here changes the... No, it's still something's happening. But anyway, the Six of Pentacles, if you see, I mean, this is the classic card. I've been using the Rider-Waite deck lately, because it really, the Pamela Coleman's Smith's drawings are so evocative. I have a new deck that's coming in the mail today, I think, and it's a Druid deck, and it's supposed to be faithful to the Rider-Waite version. So I'm eagerly awaiting that, because some of these decks that I have really don't correspond easily with the images. And I love this, because you see somebody is in that position of being able to throw a few crumbs to the beggars. I have like a pretty cynical view of, you know, searching for work or asking for a raise. To me, that's like asking for a raise and asking, please, oh master, can I have a few more crumbs? Can I have a few more pennies to put in my velvet purse? You know, and really, that is the position that the person in authority is taking, is they're doing you a favor. And really, I was reading somewhere that when you work for somebody else, you really are working for yourself. You're a free agent. You're offering them your services. So in other words, there's no reason whatsoever to grovel. And businesses, I think, take advantage of this fear-based mentality that a lot of people have that, oh my God, what if I lost my job? And I was never like that. Well, of course, you know, that I'm sure there are people that have gotten very far in their careers by being very, I don't know if subservient is the word, but they just place a lot of importance on that. I guess I'm just like a different type of person, but I just can't play that game. And I don't think like that. I don't think, oh my God, what if this doesn't happen? Then what am I going to do? I figure that the universe has my back. That doesn't mean that I'm foolhardy, but in this case, you may be asking for crumbs when you deserve the riches of the kingdom. Okay? This is a card in the upright position, so it's not that it's a negative card at all. It really isn't. And it's a card of balance. The person's holding the scales. So if you're asking, if you're in that kind of, what I think is a humiliating position of having to ask for a raise instead of just automatically them giving it to you because of your good work, if you're in that position, don't approach them like a beggar. You know, approach them like somebody who deserves what it is that they're asking for. And the other thing, too, is that in your marriage or committed relationship, this may be a theme right now where one person is holding the purse strings and the other person is like on their knees like a beggar. So if one person is staying home to raise the children and the other person is giving them kind of like a little allowance and they feel like it's inadequate, but they feel just grateful that they get anything, you know, that kind of a vibe. And the other person may even be making them feel like they're a beggar. And this doesn't have anything to do with gender. It could be the man staying home and the woman is the one, I was going to say wearing the pants in the family, but that's not what I mean. Being the breadwinner and kind of doling out the money like, oh, look, there's my subject. I'm going to give my subject a little gold coin. And maybe even a bit of arrogance. I don't know. But is there balance? You know, the scale is demanding balance in the relationship. The challenge card is the 6 of Cups, which is a card of nostalgia and that sense of being, you know, ties to the past, ties to things that came before. And so perhaps perhaps you're in a different climate now in your work, where before you had a different boss, and it was almost like a golden age where you had like a wonderful environment, and now everything's changed. Maybe they sold the company to somebody else and their style of management is totally different, and you're stuck in the past because you're staying in this place thinking about how it used to be, but it isn't that way anymore. Same with marriage. By the way, the 6 of Cups can relate to children. So that scenario that I gave you about staying home with the children may be very much the case, but this is the challenge position. So there could be some other more serious issues that are involved here. Maybe you're staying at home with the kid, but your partner didn't even want to have kids. Maybe it was like kind of a quote-unquote accident. And so they're resentful because you're not bringing in any bacon with them. And so that the child may have put a bit of a crimping, may have crimped or cramped your style when it comes to earning capacity. Likewise, your career matters. So that there may be some other issues swirling around related to that. The kind of the origin of the situation is represented by the 2 of Cups. And this is a card of, you know, it could be just marriage, commitment, becoming committed to a person. And if that's the case, like in a marriage situation, maybe you're newlyweds And now you're realizing how your partner is, that they're very controlling. Maybe you got married because you got pregnant. And that's why the Six of Cups is in that position, because it didn't start the right way. It started like you felt, the other person may have felt forced to get married, but didn't really want it. And so that sets up a whole set of problems in and of itself. In terms of business matters, the Two of Cups is a card of maybe a partnership issue. So there could even be some of you who are involved with someone that is from your past, like a childhood friend, even in some cases it could be a child, but that relationship is severely kind of tested in a way. And maybe you thought you were doing them a favor by being a partner with them. Like the Six of Pentacles, maybe you're the one who has the money to be able to give to others, and yet there's not balance there. They're not kind of giving what you're giving. And it doesn't have to be 50-50, but at least should be something in the ballpark of something fair. The spiritual message is the Magician card. Now you see the Magician is a 1. I just mentioned a card that was a 2. The Magician is a major arcana card though too, so this carries a little bit more weight in a lot of ways. And the Magician card talks about self-empowerment and also, self-mastery and being resourceful. So it could be that you are in a situation with another party and that's complicating things, and that you could easily go it alone, but you are choosing, maybe because you like the companionship, to be with that person, but it's not really a positive experience. It might even be draining for you. In terms of romantic endeavors, the Magician card could even be saying that if there is some kind of like a conflict because somebody is staying home with a child and now the finances are being strained because it's a one-income family, you can create something on your own at home. The number 1 is about taking what you have. I mean, they always show this. I don't know. Let me see if this table... This is a little bit different than my Morgan Greer deck, but it's the same principle. You see, the person has the chalice, the dagger. I don't know. It's like a big sword there or something, and is able to take what they have and make it happen without relying on somebody else. So there's self-reliance. And I would also add doing things very, much on a shoestring, so that you don't have this sense of like, oh, I'm dependent on this other party to support me, to pay all the bills, and then they have that sense of control. They always say, like, yeah, don't put yourself in that position, because you never know what the future is going to hold, and then you're left high and dry. But I wouldn't say it in such a cynical way that you should just like, oh yeah, don't ever allow your partner to support you, because then they can control you. But I will say that that Six of Pentacles, even though it's considered a positive card, I don't like the image of somebody on their knees as a beggar. I think that none of us should be in that begging kind of a position. Now, sometimes you may need financial assistance, and this card can talk about that as well. But there's that sense of imbalance of power when you have this person who has a lot giving to those who have just a little. And so the Magician is about self-empowerment, and that comes, in this case, it may be that you need to create a business, a home-based business. And that's something that can carry you through, even if you decide to go back into some public, some business that you don't own. You decide to go back into that later. you still can even have a second business that you own. Oh yeah, I think this is it. The advice is represented by the devil cards. So look at the areas that hold you back. I was talking about that blue moon. That's kind of like what this is about. Addictive tendencies. Also, addictive can be materialistic mindsets. The two people here are in bondage to one another. And obviously because they're naked, there's a sexual connotation. But this is definitely more than just about the issue of lust. This can be related to greed, to excessive need for material resources. That you, again, it's excessive. You don't need these in the level. And sometimes that can lead to, you know, with that Six of Cups, if that's a child, not putting your child in, not taking care of your child and having somebody else do it, and then you don't get to raise the child. So putting the proper priorities. If you have the opportunity to stay home with your child, you have the money, even if you have to cut back, you might want to do that. And it sounds like you or your partner wants to do that, but there's this devil rearing its head and creating problems, because if there wasn't greed, there wouldn't be an argument about it. So it's coming in as represented by the Queen of Pentacles. This is a card of a woman, feminine energy. This could be a man though, but anybody who's at home, a homemaker, they could have a business at home too. But they have a very nice house. They have very nice things. And so it can speak to making that home your castle, but also a place where you can make money there. And just enjoying your home, you know. You may have been in a corporate environment where you and your partner have a nice home, but you're working 60 hours a week, so you don't really get to see it very much, except when you go to sleep. So it's just kind of crazy. Maybe now you're going to be stopping and smelling the roses a little bit more. The Queen of Pentacles would like to grow some roses too. And again, the Queen can represent motherhood. So you may be waiting for that as well, anticipating that. And the outcome is the Page of Swords. There may be news that comes that gives you a sense of understanding what is happening. We are having Mercury go direct the week following this. So you may find out something that helps you to make decisions that you need to make in your future. Maybe there's still some things that are up in the air. And maybe you even suspect that there's things that you need to find out. And they will be, sometimes you may hear from somebody from your past. And the Page of Swords can indicate that you're on the internet, you're researching whatever happened to so-and-so, and then you find out when, you know, about them. But in the workplace, this can be about being very vigilant about the negotiation process. Maybe you feel like you're being made an offer, but it's not necessarily what you should be able to make. And so you're kind of researching what other people are trying to find out in kind of sneaky ways. How are other people, how much are they getting paid? Okay, Scorpio, I hope you enjoyed this. And if you'd like a private reading, the link to my website is below. Take care. Bye.